All right. Hi everyone. Good morning or good afternoon to you all. My name is Eva Pena, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the MSU Mastercard Entrepreneurship Pitch Competition event today. We also like to extend a special welcome to our judges who will be assessing the entrepreneurs. We are delighted to have you all with us to participate and share in this special moment as we hear about the transformative ventures and of some of our scholars and the impact of these ventures in their community. The MSU Mastercard Foundation Alumni launched this entrepreneurship fund to support our scholars' businesses that have special impact in their communities. The funding is not meant to represent 100% of the selected applicants' project, but is intended to help kickstart some of the viable businesses that they have and also to enable them have transformative impact in their communities. We are all excited about the impactful contribution of our scholars, and we look forward to learning more about the ventures and the impact that is having on their community. So once again, on behalf of the Mastercard Foundation Alumni Board, I would like to welcome all of you here to this event, and I hope you enjoy it. And also we welcome your contribution to this presentation. Thank you so much, and also for being here. I also like to call on Dr. Opa Batis, who is the Interim Director for the Global Youth Advancement Network, to provide her feedback about from the Foundation office. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva, and thanks everyone for allowing me to be here and to take part in this event. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Opal Lehman Varghese, and I'm the Executive Director of Education Abroad at Michigan State University, as well as Eva said, the Interim Director of the Global Advancement Network. It's wonderful to be able to gather now for this Mastercard Foundation Scholars Entrepreneurship Fund Competition, or Shark Tank event, as we call it internally. As you may know, the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program has 4 main pillars: leadership training, community service and training, career education and internship, and entrepreneurship training. This event is naturally focused on the final pillar, most of all, the entrepreneurship training, but it brings to bear aspects of all 4 of the foundational areas. We know that the African continent currently has 11 million people entering the formal sector of the labor force each year, but only 3 million new such jobs are being created annually. This means there's a critical gap to address, and our entrepreneurs can play a pivotal role in solving this challenge. They have the opportunity to create jobs for themselves and for others. Some of the amazing concepts we'll hear about today are entirely new, and others build on existing ideas. But all of them are sure to be inspiring, and I'm excited to hear more. So as we get started, I'd like to thank the scholars for taking part in this competition, thank the judges, the organizers, and of course the audience. And thank you to my colleague Kwame for allowing me to say a few words and play some small part in this exciting event. So a warm welcome to everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Opa. It's also my distinguished pleasure to introduce to you our judges for the competition today. So first of all, I would like to introduce Mr. Venkat Maturi. Mr. Venkat Maturi is the Director of Managing Consultant Academy at Michigan State University. He's also the former founding director and COE of Junior Achievers Achievement in India. Mr. Maturi is a well-respectable management consultant and an entrepreneur with over 25 years of consulting and operation experience with ABB, Accenture, IBM, and KPMG across Asia, Europe, Australia, and the United States. He has been a trusted advisor to senior management and corporate boards with client experience in business transformation, change management, corporate restructuring, financial turnaround, and measure integration with some industries first to his credit. As an entrepreneur, he has set up commercial ventures in food and beverages, for retailing, and education industries. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Venkat. Second, I would also like to introduce to you Ms. Amina Said Moumouni, who is a master's student at Sciences Po in France. She's a proud alumna of the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program at Michigan State, where she studied international relations and comparative politics in the James Madison College. She's a social entrepreneur with an infectious passion for solving pressing challenges facing underserved communities in her home country of Niger and beyond. Over the past years, she has initiated and received funding for various projects in Niger that focus on empowering marginalized women and children of persons with disability with special requisite skills to secure their livelihood. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Amina Seidu. And also we have with us Mr. Leonidas Murimbia, who is Assistant Professor of International Development and of Programs and Policy Evaluation at Michigan State University, specializing in Sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, and Latin America. He's also an economist for the state of Michigan, providing crucial economic data and analysis to Michigan economy and workforce development agencies. Mr. Murimbia has been involved in capacity building efforts in Mali with funding from USAID, in which he trained select graduate students on how to use available data from multilateral institutions, example, the World Bank, as well as data from their own surveys for analysis of agri-economic issues. Recently, he co-authored a paper analyzing the impact of COVID-19 on employment, income, and food security in Mali. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Murimbia. And finally, I would like to introduce to you Ms. Ineka Okikeru, who is the Deputy Director and Head of Gender at the Enterprise Development Center of the Pan-African University. She has a bachelor's degrees and MBA in banking and finance, and is currently doing a doctoral degree in entrepreneurship. She has over 25 years of experience spanning across banking, telecommunication, and consulting. As a World Bank Master Trainer and Assessor, Ms. Ineka believes in the power of mentoring, capacity building, and networks. She has implemented, supported, and managed various programs on the continent, such as the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women, Sherry Blake Foundation for Women, Road to Growth Program, and the Mastercard Foundation Transforming Nigerian Youth Program. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let's welcome all our judges. Thank you. So I would like to invite Mr. Venkat to give us response and also the rules for the competition.
Thank you so much, Eva. I just want to be sure everyone is able to hear me loud and clear. Wonderful. I'll dive straight into the rubric. There's a pretty simple set of measures on which all the judges would like to understand the pitches. And then, of course, once we make an assessment, I'll also share what is it that we plan to do thereafter. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 measures of assessing each of the pitches. One, of course, is the clarity of your pitch. So it's pretty simple. All that we would care for is how clear is your presentation, your pitch, and to what extent have you used various presentation aids effectively. The next one is the innovativeness of the idea. How original is your idea, and how creative have you been about implementing your idea? That's number 2. Number 3 is the impact threshold. Impact threshold primarily is the venture that you have ideated and structured. How large can the impact of that initiative be? It doesn't have to be today, but then what is the potential? So we totally understand that every initiative can be at different stages of maturity. And therefore, it's the possibility that we are really looking at. The 4th one is the feasibility of your initiative or venture. And the idea is how practical is it? And is it likely to survive? That's very important. The 5th one is sustainability. Now, here's where I would be very careful, because it might be possible that some of the initiatives may be commercial ventures, and therefore they may sustain, they may have some ability to generate their own resources. It might be also possible that some of your ventures may be not for profit and may or may not necessarily be designed around generating its own resources. But that being said, whether it's a for-profit or non-profit, whether it's resource generating or non-resource generating, we do wish to see whether the operating model is designed in a way that it can sustain itself. So that's the point. And then the last one is the time used for the presentation. So I believe, just to be sure, we have 5 minutes for presentation and 10 minutes for question and answers.
That is correct. I will be your timekeeper for today. I will use my background to send you signals to help you manage your time. So please pay attention to my background. When the background has the word start like this, you may begin your presentation. When my background is green, it means you have 3 minutes left. When this background turns yellow, it means you have 2 minutes. And when the light is red, it means it's time to stop. Thank you, Venkat.
Thank you, Ivy. And how do we propose to process these assessments? We do not intend to have a ranking. The judges collectively would like to come to an assessment as to how much investment we may want to make in each of those pitches, each of those ventures. So there is no 1, 2, 3, first, second, third. The assessment would essentially lead to what is the investment that we may want to make in each of these pitches. So that's all that I have to share for the assessment. Any quick questions from any of the candidates at this point in time? If none, then IB, I'll hand over the process to you.
Okay. Are we ready to begin?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Venkat, we can go ahead with the first one on the list. So I'll encourage, I think, Peter, you're the one sharing the screen. So please try sharing the screen and then we can work with the time. Yeah, Venkat will moderate that from there.
Sorry, Kwame, I just want to be sure. The moderating of the presentation or?
Yeah, you could moderate the presentation. So you end up cutting them once you see or that fifth mark has been reached, regardless of where they are.
Okay.
Okay.
So can I put something across?
Yes, go ahead, Simpson.
So my internet is very, very slow. I've opened my own slides on my laptop, so I might not follow your slides because of time. I will read from what I have here. I think it's the same thing I shared. Is that okay?
That should be okay. Kwame and Ivy, a quick question. So do the presenters have control to navigate through their slides?
Yes, the presenters could have control. They can decide to share it themselves. If they prefer, we can also share it for them. So I have all the presentations open, but the first option is for them to be able to navigate through that so that they can control the pace.
Okay, I think that would be preferable.
Yes.
And just to reconfirm the order of presentation, first one is Violet Akumo. I hope I got the pronunciation right. Is it Achumo?
Yes.
Sorry about that, Violet. So it's Violet Achumo. The second person is Simpson Kamu Jisha or Gisha?
Jisha.
Jisha. All right, thank you. Third person is Joylin Chepkurir. Fourth person is Rajesh Nakalima. Fifth person is Claire Gapare. Is that right? Is that how I pronounce your name?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And then the last person to go, definitely not the least, is Don Iridakunda. Okay, so in which case then, Violet, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Thank you. We're leaders of Africa, an African e-learning platform scaling to meet the growing demand for research, data science, and tech mastery. Think about how you learn best. Studies show we all learn differently. One of the many challenges we faced at the start of the pandemic was that our approach to e-learning was two-dimensional, literally and figuratively. Because many of us had not experimented with e-learning, we pursued a one-size-fits-all approach, and in many cases, it didn't work. At the same time, many of us acknowledge that e-learning can bring us together across borders. When we began back in 2020, we realized that despite the rise of e-learning platforms, there was a gap between basic certification and innovative mastery. We've reviewed thousands of CVs from emerging professionals in Africa, and here's what we found. Almost all emerging professionals in our sample have used paid learning platforms to augment their digital skills. Comparing applicant CVs with the results of a skills assessment, We found that multiple educational opportunities from existing platforms signal interest rather than mastery. Our customer discovery survey and focus groups reveal that a source of this interest mastery gap includes no personalized instruction or trusted feedback. Our solution is impactful and is built on years of research and digital scale instruction by our founding team of international educationalists. It begins with measuring baseline mastery on our proprietary creator track assessment and determining personalized learning goals. On our e-learning platform, we use creator track and professional interest data to match learners into cohort communities where they receive tailored live instruction and mentorship set to their learning rhythm. The mentor then signs off on skills milestones while they complete an e-portfolio project to demonstrate mastery and be connected to opportunities through our career match. In comparison to our competitors who embrace the self-paced approach to learning, our approach provides live instruction, skill matching, mastery tracking, a culturally sensitive curriculum, and e-portfolio projects that generate societal impact. But our solution is not just for learners, it is for instructors too. The average instructor in Ghana makes 600 USD per month, while we offer 2,500 USD to instructors for a 4-week program. Our customers are emerging professionals between the ages of 25 to 45 who are interested in new employment opportunities or career advancement in an increasingly digital world. We balance accessibility and revenue growth. We value a 4-week program between 150 to 500 USD. In addition, we offer subscription options to maintain skills long-term. We also have a business-facing strategy in which businesses pay a commission to recruit top talent alongside partnerships with universities to implement enterprise modules of our learning platform. Approximately 10% of the African economy will be driven by technology, and that number is even higher if we consider employment requiring digital skills. Skills education will continue to be important outside traditional education context. Our survey of major companies suggests that they need master analysts who ask the right questions and tell compelling stories that inform decision-making. We've had participants from over 30 African countries. With a growth of 500% in applications this year, our research and innovation program alone has garnered $30,000 US in May. We will expand our paying user base to 700 by the end of 2022 and use our pre-profit revenue to continue platform development. Our ongoing customer acquisition efforts are backed by participant success rates and exemplar e-portfolio projects. For example, Isaac of Ghana designed Transparency, a platform to educate the public about resource distribution. Participants and users like Isaac drive our impact. Our company contributes to achieving UN SDGs, including SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 8, economic opportunities. Behind our innovative approach to digital skills education are minority and multicultural founders who are technologists and development experts. More MSU Mastercard alumni contribute to growing leaders of Africa. We're in the process of securing 225,000 USD through a mix of non-dilutive grants and mission supporting investors. We've already secured 40,000 USD this year through advanced stage accelerators at Johns Hopkins University and the Conscious Ventures Lab. The investment will expand Africa-based program and sell staff and enhance the technical development of a learning platform. Leaders of Africa is closing the interest mastery gap by inspiring knowledge sharing without borders so that we can build together and build a more integrated and democratic world. As we scale up from boutique to broad impact, consider hiring one of our talented data scientists, researchers, and developers for your next project. Thank you.
Thank you, Violet. I have 2 questions for you. What has been the feedback from the beneficiaries of your platform to date?
Thank you very much. The impact has been absolutely great. Oh, and just before I go ahead, Peter will join me in answering the questions at some point, but the feedback has been really amazing. So we just have a few to highlight because we have over 300 impact stories, but we can highlight about 2. So here's Dr. Eda Masi Aki. She is an assistant dean for the University of Boya in Cameroon. So she came to us and she was able to upskill, and after upskilling, she was able to create a platform and an app where she could evaluate the education system in Cameroon, because for many of us who have studied on the continent, we know that when you go into the university, many times it's not what you want to study, it's about what they give you. So there's always a disconnect, and eventually it ends up affecting the productivity and then the economy of those countries. And so she was able to create a platform and an app where she could reconcile these two polar opposites. And this was because of all the upskilling that she managed to get from Leaders of Africa. And that app that she created and the platform was also a result of a nationwide survey that she managed to launch, again with the help of the Leaders of Africa Research and Media Lab. And then we also do have Isaac Bote. He's also one of our esteemed scholars who walked in through our doors. He's from Ghana, Eta is from Cameroon, and he works with the government in Ghana. He's an economist. And again, we know that sometimes, or many times, corruption is a big problem that's plaguing our countries. And so Isaac designed Taxparency, a platform that helped Ghanaians to track the taxes that they're paying to the government and basically help keep the government accountable, and also to help enhance the governance structures in Ghana. So that is one, or those are two of the impact stories that we've had, but we have over 300 impact stories. And one thing that I want to highlight is that it's not about the scholars themselves or the participants who come into through our doors. It's about the impact of what they're able to do. So it creates this cascading impact. So for example, right now we've had 300, but then they're doing things. And so there's this whole butterfly effect that comes out of that. And so the impact is even much, much bigger than it seems right now. And because it's an e-learning platform, we are only able to have people who have access to the internet. And we also acknowledge that there's a very big, great digital divide on the continent. But some of the things that these people are doing are in the rural areas. So they're helping to bridge that digital divide through our work, which is again, one of the most important things that we believe that our company is doing, as was highlighted in the just concluded report by the Alliance for African Partnership that came out, talking about the importance of bridging the digital divide. And we believe that we are doing this through our work and the impact that it's creating.
Great, thank you, Violet. There was one more question before I pass it on to Leo. He has a question on your recruitment strategy. But Mike, I wanted to understand, get a quick response on how do you keep your organization up to date on your own knowledge?
Thank you so much for that question. That's a very good question. So how we keep our organization up to date with the knowledge itself is that our instructors are exposed to the most cutting edge methods out there in technology, research, data science, and all the other aspects that we teach. Mm-hmm. And we are constantly in the process of capacity building for our own. And then we're also always on the lookout for world-class instructors. So we're always hiring, and then we make sure that for every instructor who walks in through the doors of Leaders of Africa, we train them ourselves. And then we're always, of course, going to conferences and just making sure that we're always keeping up to date with what's going on, because again, we're a tech platform. And so we make sure that we're always up to date. And then also our remuneration is very, very competitive. So we're able to attract top talent and people who are always keeping up to date with their craft. So that's what sets us apart from the many self-paced platforms out there.
And I'll add one more thing to what Violet said. One of the key things that we put an emphasis on, as we mentioned in the pitch, is customer discovery. In other words, understanding what people need and the skills they need in the market. So we put a big investment of time and energy in understanding what companies need, as well as those like Etta and Isaac, who are both looking for career advancement within the spaces they're at, knowing what they need as well. So for those who are looking for a new career, we have to understand what the businesses need on their side, the skills that they're looking for. And then in terms of career advancement, we also have to have those relationships directly with those who will be taking on those who come through our program. So we put a big emphasis on that piece as well.
Thank you,
Peter. Thank you, Peter. Violet, you have two more questions in the chat, one from Leo and one from Veronica, on recruitment strategy and scaling strategy.
Okay, so for our recruitment strategy, right now we've been using social media and messenger recruitment in our website. So we've managed to generate a lot of traffic to our website, and then we've been using LinkedIn because that's a professional platform, and then we've also been using social media because again this is an e-learning platform. But then again, it's been the pandemic, so it's been very difficult to have face-to-face recruitment. And while our online recruitment efforts have been wildly successful because we've had a 500% growth in applications this year alone, and it's still the first quarter. We are now moving forward to start on-the-ground recruitment efforts. So beginning in June next month, we are going to be, some members of the team are going to be traveling to select African countries to advance talks to create partnerships that will help expand our network and create sustained recruitment efforts. We've also been talking to the directors of different learning institutions, particularly of higher education. And so these will act as ways into our company for upskilling. So those are some of the recruitment means that we are using. And then as for scaling, yes, so I'll talk about this and then Peter can also jump in on this. So we began with a boutique model, a business model whereby we would tailor our programs to our clients' needs. And we still do this, although of course with scaling comes that struggle between boutique and then, you know, just creating a product en masse. And so how we are managing this is by recruiting again. And this is based on how much revenue that we have. So the more our revenue grows up, the more we're able to hire world-class instructors who are able to, again, come through us so that we're able to like train them so they know exactly what our model is and still being able to, even with a bigger number of clients, still create a sustainable, tailored solution to their needs. And so to enable our scale, we are in the process of employing multiple instructors. And with that, we create cohort communities as well to make sure that our clients are in batches where they're comfortably learning. They're also matched according to their professional interests and skills. And then we are able to teach them in the same way en masse as if it was a boutique style project, which I should like to add some more.
Yeah. So we began in 2020 and we put a large emphasis at the beginning on piloting our programs and making sure that the quality of those programs could speak for themselves. So stories like Dr. Etta or Isaac, for instance. And that has gotten the attention of major organizations that are in the data space, such as data.org or the Partnership for Sustainable Development Goals, for instance. So these organizations actually share our calls for applications and talk about the opportunities both to teach with us as well as to apply to our programs. And that has effectively been an effective mechanism for recruitment. And like I said, right now we're at a point where we actually have more applicants who are interested in our program that we can take on at this time. And so some of the support that Mastercard Foundation and this amount of money would give us is that ability to scale those programs and work through some of those things as well.
Thank you, Peter. There's one last question that we can accommodate right now is from Judge Inika. Who is competition for you and how do you keep ahead?
I'll start with answering that. So as you saw in our competition slide, we have a group of those who are in the sort of self-paced approach, right? So your Coursera's, your Skillshares, right? And I'm sure many of us have taken those self-paced classes. I bet many of you haven't finished those self-paced classes that you started, right? That's one of the big gaps you see in those programs is what is the real measurable impact, right? In terms of the actual skills and deliverables and applying those skills. That's the research that we've done that has shown that interest mastery gap. Then you have some new organizations that are coming up that are based on the African continent. For example, UTIVA, based in Nigeria, for instance, or you have Moringa School based in Kenya, and then you have Alt School also based in Nigeria. But one of the key things you notice about these schools is they're located in some key locations. Where? Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, also known as the Big Three. If you look at investment that's going into the African continent, a majority of it is going to the Big Three. Now, we at Leaders of Africa see that as a bit of a hopeful thing, but also a little bit of concern in terms of thinking about a more Pan-African equity and Pan-African ecosystems that are bringing to people across borders. I'm going to have Violet talk a little bit about how we emphasize that importance of being people across borders. But what is the nice thing about our approach is that we are recruiting people who are outside of those big three, from Cameroon, from the Gambia, from Cote d'Ivoire, including English, French-speaking countries that oftentimes are sort of off people's radar when it comes to English-speaking institutions and organizations. So we believe that we need to extend beyond that. And we've been putting an emphasis on recruitment outside of those big three. And of course, we're going to have a fair number of Kenyans, Nigerians, and Ghanaians in our program, but we do a big emphasis on doing that. Violet, do you want to add to that briefly? I know our time is almost up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that sets us apart from our competitors, because right now at the moment, we have people from 32 different African countries, to be specific, out of the 54. And we believe that as we continue to scale, we shall soon have at least representatives from all of them. And the other thing that sets us apart from our competition is that, like we're used to sitting in classes whereby you're with a mix of people who have different skill interests and skill levels and professional interests as well. But we have created a proprietary assessment called Creator Track, where everybody who walks in who is admitted and walks in through our doors has to take that Creator Track assessment. And here we're able to assess them on 4 levels, and we're able to match them exactly to a cohort community that will suit them the best, where they're able to learn the best, so they get the best bang for their buck. And because they have gone through Creator Track, we're also able to tailor their learning needs to themselves. And so we're able to hit their needs points exactly. So it's not something that they come in and it's a one-size-fits-all approach. That's something that really, really sets us apart. And then we also have a very extensive mentorship program, whereby, because again, you've taken the Creator Track and we know you, we're able to follow up with that mentorship even after you're done with the program. So it still continues. And that's a very big thing that distinguishes us from our competitors as well. And then of course, the live instruction as well.
Thank you, Violet. Ivy, how much time do you take for Q&A?
This is it actually. It's 10 minutes. It's supposed to be
Fantastic.
10 minutes. And I think they have used up that time already.
Thank you, Ivy. Just a request, in case we overshoot on 10 minutes, just let us know so that we don't make other pitchers wait for us, right? Thank you so much, Team Due to South Africa. Next one, we move to Simpson. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Simpson, will you like me to share your screen? I'll share the screen for you.
Yeah, you can share the screen for me but I'll follow my computer because of the internet problems, so that I can be on time.
Okay, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Simpson Kamcha, the founding director, Simpson's Financial Solutions Venture, which is located in Mbarara, Uganda. What we do, we enhance support for small businesses through business field trainings that are focused on how to start a business, how to manage a business, and how to sustain a business. We also offer small loans, which is our major. We have 2 loan products. Number 1 is a group loan, which is given to a cluster of 5 people in a period of 6 months. It is paid on a weekly basis at a reducing balance. We also have an individual loan, which is offered to a single person for a period of 1 month, paid on a daily basis at a flat rate. I should say that we started with 20 customers, and we have now worked with 400. We now have 400 people in our program. Our targeted customers are adults above 18 years who are involved in selling clothes, shoes, fruits, vegetables, charcoal, chicken, running small local restaurants, bars, and saloons, and those who are using motorcycles for transportation. We also support small business owners whose operating capital is between 80 to 500 US dollars, and all genders are accepted in our program. Next slide. The problem our venture addresses is that micro entrepreneurs in Mbarara have a difficulty accessing loans from well-established financial institutions, including SACCOs, banks, and microfinances. This is due to lack of collateral. Collateral that is normally required is land titles, motorcycle, and car logbooks, and most of our targeted customers do not have these because they come from low-income families. A few who qualify for these for financing these institutions, they find the process of evaluating an individual for credit worth very time-consuming and costly in terms of costs involved in opening a bank account, costs involved in applying for a loan, costs involved in inspections, and sometimes they are required to buy shares in order to access some loans. This has exposed members of the community to illegal money lenders who have predatory behaviors, keeping some of the members of the community in cycles of debts, and sometimes they target household materials of a client since they use sales agreements rather than loan agreements. Our unique approach is that we made community consultations, and the findings helped us to design a model that does not require collateral for one to access a loan. Here we inspect someone's business, we ask them a letter from a local council one, we ask them a guarantor, and then when they qualify, we may make a binding agreement. From this, we designed a program, we tested it, and we are currently implementing it. Next slide. The challenge or competition that we experience on our day-to-day activities include its lack of enough funds. We have the market because we are just unique. No one is doing what we are doing. Well, we have people who reach out to us. Sometimes we are overwhelmed by the number of orders that and those who come out reach out to us asking for help. Our financial requirements really need to accumulate capital or the revenue in order to supply the demands at our display. I should say that every $1,000 can support 10 to 20 clients. Since someone can take $50 and less or $100. Our goals for the next 12 months include to increase the number of clients in our program. Once we have the resources, we can do that, to protect our targeted clients from illegal money lenders, and to reduce poverty by making loan resources I started with interest-free loans from our well-wishers, and the small interest put on our loans to make our program sustainable. I should say that our existence has supported a number of jobs, has supported employment, and has created hope among the community members. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm ready for the questions.
Thank you, Simpson. I request other judges to go ahead with questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Simpson. Sorry, there was a moment that I didn't hear. Did you say that the loans are interest-free?
I didn't. The revenue, our sources of revenue, we have personal savings, of which I started with, and then I could get interest-free loans from well-wishers to support my project, and we put interest rate on our loans to make our program sustainable.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the question I had to ask was really looking at the sustainability of what you're doing vis-a-vis the risk. Okay, so because there's no collateral. So I know it's community-based lending. So it's really focusing around reputation as a collateral. But what have you done to protect yourself should in case one or two clusters decide to go bad? Should in case majority of them are farmers and there's a bad harvest?
So when I started the program, when I returned to Uganda, I made community consultations. I was trying to find out how I could support these micro business owners or women and youth who are involved in selling. So we made consultations and we came up with solutions that are best for the target audience that is discriminated against by these well-established financial institutions. So when we talk to them through group discussions, they themselves suggested solutions that are working, including they said when you inspect a business and you find we could estimate the kind of business, the operating capital, and we realized that those who are below the business with operating capital below $80 were either running out of business or they have just started. And we decided to say we will not work with those, and then we set our category, those who are in between $80 to $80 to $500. So we say those who are able, those who are in the category group, that category, we said we agreed that we can maybe ask for a letter from the local council one, then ask for a guarantor who puts the principal data, or the principal person who bought a client who borrows the money on pressure to make sure they pay on time. And then we ask, we write the agreements that are binding. So when we ask, we are not intending to put them on fear, but we ask for the LOCs to follow up, and clients have been following up. We have not had any risks, and our customers are paying on time. Did I answer your question, or you have some follow-up, please?
Well, no, not really, because we could get those letters and the commitment, and if they still don't pay because they cannot pay, I'm just wondering what you do to your business, because from a sustainability perspective. And the last thing is that looking at, is this a social enterprise?
Yes, it is a social enterprise.
Okay. Okay. So, but you're sustainable currently.
Yes, our sustainable, we put the little interest-free loans compared to the banks. Banks are much better than us because they have a lot of money. So we have 3.4% and on a reducing balance, and we believe that it can sustain our program.
Okay, I'll let other judges ask.
Mm-hmm.
Simpson, there are two questions in the chat box from Judge Leo. Are you able to read that? Or I can I can read them for you.
Sure, I can't see it. I'm using my phone. Maybe you can read it for me, please.
I can do that. It's basically the same questions as Neka was asking. Basically, my concern is, you know, are you doing this as a full-time a worker? Is it just a volunteering job that you're doing? It's hard to see where you get the money to actually pay your workers, your rents, your everything. And then what is your plan to scale up this program? How are you going to do that outside of
Well, this is a program that I took time to design. It's a full-time job. I have three more employees. So I started with personal savings. I reached out to people, my former professors who offered interest-free loans, and we do put should I say a markup or the interest. So the interest pays the employees, and that's how we accumulate revenue. Then you are wondering about how we scale up. That's what we do. We started when we put the interest, it accumulates some money, and that's how we grow. That's how we continue with our life. And like I said, we started with 20 clients, and we now have 400 clients in our program. So that means every person you include on a program, that means you include you earn some little interest that helps you to continue the program.
Amina, you have some questions.
Yeah, I have two questions. First, you said on your what you sent us, that when you did the research, people didn't really like group loans. So now you want to focus more on individual loans. Do you think that increases the risk?
Well, I did not say that they don't like it. Maybe I said they prefer the individual loan. Reason being, it takes a long time, 6 months period. It's a long time for my clients from the experience. So from the word go, sometimes they run out of cash in a period of 6 months and they want to top up maybe on the 4th month in order to get more cash to start with what they are doing. But individuals normally they get a loan for a period of 30 days. You divide it in a number of days, and then they start paying daily. Let's say if someone is selling charcoal, they buy today 5 sacks of charcoal, and they start paying on a daily basis. They make some profit, and they continue buying and selling, and then paying us.
Okay, I think I understood. The last question. So are you planning to use some of that money to invest in business development skills? Because we know that sometimes it's not enough to provide loans for people, but you also have to help them and teach them how to sustain their businesses, how to generate revenues and all of that. Are you planning to use some money to invest in that, or the grant you're seeking today is simply to help to lend that money to people?
Well, that's a good question. Thank you so much. So we have already started. We registered a company. We got a license that allows us to run our kind of business. So the grant that we are getting, we want to put it in the field. We have enough staff so that we can expand our business, so that we can help out. So some of the targeted clients, we have demands, like I said, we have people who reach out to us, but we don't have enough money to supply all the demands. For example, we reached at the point of saying, now we have only 400 clients, we can't add more people in our program because we didn't have enough resources. Or if we get more money, we can now open for more clients to come in. Thank you.
Leo, please go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify my position. I like your idea. This is a problem in many developing countries. There are many good examples in Latin America, in countries like Guatemala, of those kinds of businesses that really help the lower end of income distribution people to move up into their society. So I see this as a great idea, and I encourage that you continue to do this. It's a great idea.
Thank you so much.
Simpson, I have a very quick question since we didn't go red yet. What's the size of your loan portfolio today, and how much does it grow every month?
My portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat your question?
In dollar terms, how big is your total loan portfolio today? Is it $10,000, $20,000?
Well, including the interest-free loan that I was given, my project now has about $50,000.
And how much does it grow every month?
Well, it's normally we multiply by 3.4%. I really don't have the math on of it right
okay,
now.
So roughly about $1,500 a month. Sorry,
Yeah,
$1,500. So probably about $120 a month.
Yeah, probably yes.
Got it. Well, thank you, Simpson. We just ran out of time, so we're going to move to the next presentation, which will be Joylene.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simpson. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Yeboah, please share the slide. Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joy Chepkorir. I am the president and founder of Mwangaza Cancer Initiative. I'm going to present about our proposed hay production for breast and cervical cancer prevention and control project and other activities that our organization intends to do in the years to come. Next slide. I'll start with a problem that our organization has been trying to address over the past 4.5 years. About 70 to 80% of cancer cases are diagnosed in advanced stages that are unamenable to treatment in Kenya. Breast and cervical cancer are the leading causes of death in women, and this has been attributed to limited cancer screening rates, limited cancer literacy, particularly in low-income rural communities, including Kericho and Bomet counties, highlighted in red on the map on your right. Also important to note is that only 20% of Kenyans have any form of health insurance, meaning the rest 80% are not insured. Next slide. So what is Mwangaza Cancer Initiative and what does it specifically do? It is a registered nonprofit organization that's focused on breast and cervical cancer education, screening, treatment, particularly among low-income uninsured women. And this initiative is related to the Sustainable Development Goal number 3, that is on good health and well-being. One of our long-term goals is to establish Mwangaza Cancer Center for Breast and Cervical Cancer Research, Screening, Diagnosis, and Treatment. Over the years, we have reached about 4,000 women and girls. And recently, we managed to facilitate cervical cancer screening of about 100 women during our pilot project in 2021. The major challenges we face are one, over-reliance on grants, which has proved unsustainable. And second, limited participation of dairy farmers who are often engaged in trying to fend for their livestock. And climate change has, I'm still on the previous slide, sorry. Climate change has led to unpredictable rainfall patterns. And just like any other farming sector, dairy farmers are faced with the problem of finding sufficient livestock feeds that will increase their produce and subsequently their profits from the sale of dairy products. Next slide. So what is our solution to the challenges that I just mentioned? Hay production. We intend to produce hay from Boma Rhodes grass, which requires less water. It matures faster. It's usually within 3 months and has less risk compared to perishable crops, and is preferred by dairy farmers in the counties that we currently serve through our initiative, the cancer initiative I just mentioned. Notably, Boma Rhodes grass has, once planted, can be used beyond 7 years after initial planting. They can be harvested for a minimum of 3 times a year. Our hypothesis is that by ensuring that farmers have easy access to livestock feeds, we will build relationships that will facilitate collaboration with the farmers in breast and cervical cancer prevention and control activities, which they have not been participating so much in. Additionally, with consistent income from dairy produce, we believe that these women will be able to afford government subsidized health insurance schemes that most of them don't have at the moment. Research shows that possession of any form of health insurance increases the likelihood that a woman who is eligible for breast and cervical cancer screening will seek this service. Next slide. This is our budget, which is subdivided into financial needs for hay production and also for cancer prevention and control activities. We'll need to lease 5 hectares of land to cover, and we need funds to cover the costs associated with planting, management, and harvesting of the Boma Rhodes grass. We estimate that the initial cost of production per hectare is $610 and comes to a total of $26.50 for 5 hectares. For breast and cervical cancer prevention and control expenditures, we intend to fund the screening, diagnosis, and treatment of about 30 women. And we also need to compensate gynecologists during our annual question and answer sessions on breast and cervical cancer. We also are piloting an HPV vaccination program for about 100 boys and girls ages 10 to 12, which is the ideal age for receiving the vaccine. And we also want to hire a project manager part-time to coordinate all the activities of the organization, which we have in the past managed through our volunteers. And I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you. I'm ready for questions.
Thank you, Joy. That was absolutely crisp and to the point. I have, and my first reaction to this presentation is this is the need of the hour, wherein we might choose a particular concern area, but then when the beneficiary is struggling with livelihood issues, and we may want to help them with their health, unless we try to approach the beneficiary in a holistic manner, more often than not, many of the impact initiatives, despite the best intention, they struggle. So by that measure, I think this is a very good initiative. But of course, the big question always is on sustainability, and that's where I bring my first question on the financials. So the 2650 that you wanted to invest for producing the hay, is that just for one cycle of 7 years, or once that is done, do you think that cycle will pay for itself?
Did you say this, the six, do you mean the 610, right?
So the 2650 that you invested for production of hay. So assuming you said once you plant it, it kind of goes over for 7 years.
Yes, sorry.
Go ahead. So do you think that cycle will sustain itself just with the 2650 in initial investment?
I think so, because all we need to do is pay, once we have the initial planting, all we need to do is pay for management, which is like one person looking to make sure there are no pests. And if there are pests, they just spray with herbicides. And then with harvesting, all we need to do is spend about $50 for harvesting, and perhaps an additional $30 for someone who will be drying. And then the rest, once we sell the hay, that's all the profit that comes to the organization to help sustain the organization, which at the moment we can't really sustain with depending on grants annually.
Okay. So we have a few questions from judges Leo and Anika. Are you able to access the chat, Joy?
Yes. Is there a separate fee for service for a different customer target? I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
Okay, sorry, let me ask. So this is this is a non-for-profit, right? Is the organization it's a non-for-profit, it's not a social enterprise?
No, it's a not-for-profit.
It's a non-for-profit. Okay, so do you have a screening, or do you have a separate segment where you're actually charging something? So it might not be for the rural farmers. Are you charging? I'm trying to understand your sustainability. So I understand the hay and having that and selling it. I'm just thinking that you might still provide them with the hay, and when it comes to time for them to access your services, they might not be interested. So, and which brings me to the other question, that sort of question I had when I was reading the Excel. Are we sure that that's the only reason why they're not interested?
Oh, so the other thing, the reason why they are not interested in our activities most of the time is they don't have time. And the other thing is they don't have payment for screening services that we recommend. So like from my presentation, my hypothesis is if they're able to get income from dairy farming, then they can get the government subsidized health insurance. And then when we go to them and recommend this screening, they're able to, and we tell them where to get, because we usually connect the participants to resources. They know where to get and they have the finances to get. But it could also be the distance to the facility, which in the past we have managed to provide transportation for people that have the funds or health insurance to get the screening. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sort of, kind of, sort of. So just a quick thing. Okay. There's a different non-for-profit that is doing something similar, but not in health. And the hypothesis was the fact that due to economic disadvantage, they were not coming out. And once that was provided to them, they didn't still access those resources because they didn't understand that it was important. They hadn't bought into, they didn't even see the need So at the end of the day, it was very frustrating. So I think my question really is, or my comment would be for you to go back and still to ensure that really that's what it is. And if it isn't, what else can we do to make them understand why they must be screened? And then also partnerships, just to suggest that you look at having areas of alignment and partnerships that can help you, especially from a mass media perspective. So I would recommend maybe radio shows in local dialect. So in my country, Nigeria, I sit on the board of trustees for Foundation for Cancer Care. So I'm very familiar with this stuff. So most times in the rural segment, we think that it's just money. When they get the money, that's the last thing that is on their mind. So we need to make sure we're treating the root and not the symptom.
Yeah, just to respond really quick, in my application, I mentioned that we are partnering with a local radio station. So I think that addresses what your concern. And then the other thing, we capitalize on education before recommending that they get screened, because in rural areas, there's a lot of myths around cancer. So you have to dispel those myths before you can convince someone to get screened.
Amina, you want to go next?
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, wait, did you call me or somebody else?
Amina, I called for you.
Yes, okay. I was just going to say, like, there might also be a chance that people use their health insurance to treat other diseases and not directly cancer, which again might defeat the purpose in a way. So I was going to ask, like, have you even talked to any government officials for the health insurance to ensure that it'll be easy for people to get to begin with? Because without the health insurance, I guess this whole thing wouldn't also work, right?
Right. So we usually work with local health centers, because that's where we have done our cancer education and awareness campaigns before. And usually every county has a county health department that women go to get their health insurance from. They apply for it at the county department. So at least we know where they can get if they don't know where to get. Did I answer your question?
Yes. So they know where to get it. And also for the health insurance, it's just one insurance regardless of your sickness, or the price varies, like it's more expensive for people with cancer. Did you take that into account?
So health insurance, the government subsidized, it costs $5 for every informal worker, everyone that's not a civil servant getting money from the government. So when it comes to cancer screening, if you have health insurance, you can get it at the local health center. But most participants that we've worked with don't know that. And once you pay the $5, you can go for 2 sessions of screening. But when it comes to treatment, you may have to top up that. But among the participants we've worked with, we haven't had anyone who needed cancer treatment and could not use their health insurance.
Ghana, I'll come back to you, but let me quickly check if Judge Leo has any questions. There was one question, Leo, I recall you asked, and Joy did answer it in response to Anika, but just want to check if you have more questions.
Yeah, I think my question was like Anika question. I'm just in general concerned about free services in any kind. I think it sets this precedent of people just thinking that they can get free stuff, and economically speaking, you cannot sustain that. You have to find a way of people contributing to the system. And yes, to me, a good example is the Rwandan health system, where communities can actually get together so if you can get the community leaders to actually get the contribution as a community to your program so that it becomes part of their culture, so they own it and they contribute it and they make it sustainable. I think it will be better. So that's just a comment.
Thank you so much, Leo. Ghana, you wanted to share something.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the opportunity. That was a very wonderful presentation.
I just would request you to keep it brief because we have run out of time.
Sure. So my comment also is very related to the last comment, the need to assess sustainability by bringing community of beneficiaries to this conversation. What I want to suggest, perhaps you can partner with Leaders of Africa to develop something along this line, how you can actually establish like a community engagement, looking at the challenges, the benefit of this program, and ways that the community can be keyed into it so that they become part of making it sustainable. Because when people in the rural area understand the need for something, it's not that they are not willing to pay, but the fact is that there might be some facts that they are just not aware of your challenges of keeping this sustainable. So opening up for them what the challenges are and engaging them in a very honest and transparent conversation may mean that you are able to get their consent to commit certain things that will make it otherwise possible. So I would want to believe that if you want to go further in this direction, you may want to consider partnering with Leaders of Africa, since we have some significant expertise doing some things related to this. Very good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Ghana. Well, that's absolutely the intent. We do want to see participants cooperate and coordinate with each other. So absolutely on board with that. Rosette, you go next. Ready whenever you are.
Rosette, you can share your screen.
Oh, sorry. Can I share my screen, please?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Okay. Can I start?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Rosette Nakalema, and I am the founder and also an executive director of Russia Investment Limited, which I'll be referring to as REAL from here on. We are a peanut butter producing startup company located in Kampala, Uganda, and our main mission is to become the leading producer of peanut butter in East Africa. Our vision is to ensure food security through safe and quality food. Why did we choose peanut butter? Much as Uganda is the leading producer of peanuts in East Africa, 80% of the peanut butter on shelf is imported. And we would wonder why consumers are preferring imports to our locally made peanut butter. And this is mainly because of the unsafe processing conditions of, the unsafe processing conditions. I'll show you here. As you can see, this is how the peanut is being roasted, very unsafe conditions. That's how it's being ground, the ground, which is causing contamination, causing the peanut contamination, otherwise a lot of health risk. This is how it's being published. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Why is So with those poor unsafe processing conditions, we end up having a poor quality product. As you can see in the picture, the peanut usually separates out, the oil separates out of the rest of the contents, making it very unpalatable. It's very hard to spread on the bread, spoils quickly, poor packaging, So it's very unpleasant for consumers. That's why they're opting for imports. Also, the raw materials that are used to make this peanut butter usually undergoes poor post-harvest handling, for example, drying on the ground, as you can see in the picture, which again poses a risk of contamination with molds that produce high aflatoxin levels, which are a major constraint to market competitiveness. And that's mainly because they pose health risks like liver cancer, immune suppression, malnutrition, and stunted growth in children. Now, Bradshaw Investment Company is coming today with a solution by leveraging
Rosette,
sorry?
Rosette, you're still sharing the YouTube. If you could move to the slides, please.
Oh, I already moved to the slide, sorry.
I think the...
Can you see now?
No, the second tap on the pitch probably might be it. The second tap in the menu might be the pitch.
Okay, can you see now?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize on that. Okay, do you want me to restart?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So Bradshaw Investment Company is solving that problem by leveraging modern food technology, by establishing a food safety quality system using the equipment you can see that we've acquired. We're using a roaster, a blancher to remove the peel. We grind it using the grinder, and we mix it up with other additives and use all these machines to peel, to package the product. And with this kind of technology, we are able to come up with a better quality product that does not separate, it's well stabilized, and the consumers love it. In addition, we are training farmers with better post-harvesting techniques that are helping to reduce aflatoxin levels, which otherwise reports currently are showing Uganda is being banned from exporting peanuts because of the high aflatoxin levels. So this is a very big problem that we are trying to solve. And here's a product overview. The middle product you see there, creamy peanut butter, is what looks like the other inputs. And however, we are also introducing new flavors to the market. That is the new peanut butter, the honey peanut butter and the caramel peanut butter. They are very unique and first time to the market. We've tested them and people love them. In addition to creating new flavors to the market, we are also providing a 50% price reduction so that low-income earners can afford it. We haven't yet launched this product, so we are seeking funds to launch. We are looking for $3,200 for wages, $1,000 for the stainless working table, a chiller which goes for $2,000, and also cooling card that goes for $2,000. Thank you. And I apologize for the little mess there.
Rosette, you are fine. So you are well within the time. So I'll just have a quick question just to be sure we understood right. So you're asking funds for launching the flavored version of the product. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. Would you be able to share any statistics in terms of volume of sales and the value of sales of the sorry, go ahead.
Okay, we've done food product development for all the three flavors. However, we have not yet launched even the original one.
The original one meaning the unflavored version?
Yes, the unflavored version, which looks like the inputs that consumers are currently enjoying, but they're inputs. We don't have a locally made product that is of a similar quality. So we have not launched any of the three products. We are just in the process of trying to launch sometime this year.
Okay, so then I have a very different question then. So if you have yet to launch the non-flavored version,
yeah,
why would you risk further by launching a flavored version together?
Because we believe that people have different tastes and that they may want something new.
Okay.
Yes, and what it will make us stand out. And people, especially Ugandans, love new things. So if we bring a new flavor, we are adding variety to what is already existing. I think that will make us stand out and people may actually enjoy it. Right now, the consumer testing we've done, people love it and we think it will be a good business opportunity.
A quick question before I pass it on to a fellow judge. What's the cost of the project for the non-flavored version?
The cost of production?
The cost of the project, so equipment and so on and so forth. How much have you invested already for the non-flavored?
So far, we have invested over $30,000 US.
Okay. Over how long? Was it over the last 1 year?
Yes, over the last 1 year, we've been in the process of acquiring equipment and doing product development.
Okay. Enika has a few questions and then Leo.
I can
Sorry.
go.
Yeah, go ahead. I thought she was reading the chats. Go ahead, Leo.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, and this is the same questions I had when I was reading your proposal. Is one, this is a private business and needs many things, and so, do you have the machineries in place? So, are you producing already at least one flavor? The traditional flavor. That's one question. The other one is, I know that you're going to have a lot of competition, and you mentioned it in your proposal. What is your plan on dealing with that competition?
So the first question, yes, we do have the equipment. We've already acquired and installed it, and that's what we've been using for product development. We do have some that is on the way. We're just clearing it. Some pumps, as we're doing product development, we identified that, it will be easier for us to, have pumps with the, in between those equipment that you've seen. So we're just clearing that as of now. So yes, we have that going. And we've already acquired 1 ton of the raw materials that we're going to use for launching. And about the competition, yes, it's there. We know what we are going to do about the competition is, first of all, our product is going to be sold at 50% price reduction. So that alone is going to make our products even more competitive because, again, we are trying to reduce how much money people are spending. And also because we are using locally available raw materials, it's cheaper for us compared to the imports that are coming in. But again, the quality is competitive, if not even better than what the imports are.
Okay. That's good. Thanks.
Okay.
And also we are planning to use e-commerce to advertise our product. Now that we have social media, we can do door-to-door sales, which, the other imports can't do.
Okay. All right. So I think you answered the question on channels. I was just wondering, so you haven't done any pilots of the new variants. I'm just confirming that.
We have done pilots. We have done pilots.
Positive. The feedback was positive?
Sorry?
Was the feedback positive?
Yes, the feedback was positive, and that's why we are very energetic about introducing the new flavors because the feedback was very positive. Everyone that has tasted it loves it.
Okay, so then the last question was really around your costing, and if you've done that, because you're saying that you want to reduce it by 50% so that it's more attractive than the import. So have you actually done your costing properly, taking into consideration light and all that? Because when you make something in your kitchen and when you actually now go and use the whole machines and whatever, costs go up. Did you take that into consideration?
Yes, we did. And right now, when we're using the equipment and all of that, included, we are looking at a 28% profit margin, which will allow us to be sustainable. And by the end of the year, by the end of 2 years, we would have broken even by the end of 2 years.
Okay, I just have two questions. So how many people approximately were you able to get feedback from? Like, is it 50 people, 100 people, 200 people? And also, should I assume that your products will be cheaper than the imported products, or will it be at the same price?
So our products will be cheaper than the imports.
Okay.
It will be 50% price reduction. So if the import is at 20,000 Uganda shillings, our product will be at 10,000 Uganda shillings.
Okay.
And about the consumer testing, we use 200 participants for our consumer testing.
All right.
And we got very positive feedback. So that's why we are excited about even introducing the new flavors.
Rosette, I have two questions. One is, in your production, then right now you have equipment to produce the non-flavored version. So the new equipment that you're seeking, that has to be used along with the existing equipment to get the flavored version, or is it a different production line?
It is the same production line. Currently, we are like the chiller, there's one we are using, but we're just renting it out. But it would be better if we could have our own.
Okay.
And also the cooling cart, that one we are currently cooling on counters, you know, in our production area. But it would be easier and it would take a shorter time because now it's taking us about 4 hours. You know, that's half the day. And yet if we had a cooling cart, it would probably take maybe 2 hours or an hour.
Okay.
Yes, but we can still produce without it. However, it will make our production much easier.
Got it. The next question is, let's say $100 of sales that you generated, whether it's non-flavored or flavored version, how much of that goes to the producer?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Approximately for every $100 of revenue that you generate, how much of that $100 goes to the producer of peanuts?
The producer of peanuts.
Yeah.
So that's about, so every kilogram is bought at 4,500.
Okay.
That's per kilogram. And every kilogram we are able to make two tins.
Okay.
So about, most of it goes to the producer. Most of it is going to the farmer, I would say. Because we are selling each tin at 8,000 Uganda shillings.
Okay.
And if we include all our expenses, everything, so I would say 40% is going to the farmer.
So if a single tin is about 8,000, then 2 tins is 16,000. So if 2 tins is taking 1 kilogram and you're paying 1,500 per kilogram, that's about 10% going to the farmer.
Yes.
Okay, not 40%, but 10%.
Wait, would that be 10%? No, that's 20%.
Okay, I'm okay with, so I'm sure we're just operating with rough numbers, but okay.
Yes.
I do get it. But so if an imported product is 20,000 local currency units and you are selling at 10,000, do you plan to bring your product to the same rate as the imported one in some years, or that's the strategy going forward forever?
I would like to keep it, you know, lower. Again, our main aim here is to make sure that the low-income earners can afford our products. Right now, they are forced to, you know, again, like you saw how unsafe those processing conditions are for the locally made peanut butter, and that's what a low-income earner is consuming, mainly because the import is very expensive. They can't afford it. We want them to be able to afford it. So at the back of our mind, that's our goal. Okay. So we would like to keep the price as low as we can.
Thank you, Rosette. I appreciate all the information. We just run out of time, so I'm going to pause it here and pass on the presentation. The next one to Claire.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen. Just a moment. Can you see the big screen? Thumbs up. Yep. Oh.
Yes.
All righty, perfect, great. So I'll begin now, Ivy, so that you can start the time. Okay. So my name is Claire Gapari, and today I'll be presenting on GAP's English services. Okay. So for today's presentation, I'll go over 5 main things. So the first one will be the problem statement, the overview of GAP's English services that I'll be calling GAS, the key differentiators of our platform, the project timeline, and the financial projections. So what is the problem statement here? So the world is now a global village and we're all aware of it, and English is the main mode of communication. And growing up, it's easy to learn English because you learn it at school. There are many platforms that allow children to learn English where they can interact with the teachers. However, this becomes difficult as an adult because there aren't many platforms that offer that teacher to student interaction or student to student interaction. And then second, there is a high rate of unemployment in Africa. Each year, 10 to 12 million youth enter the workforce, but only 3 million formal jobs are created. So there's that big gap. So our solution to the lack of real-time lessons and also to the high employment rate in Africa is GAS. So GAS is an online English tutoring platform that works with teachers in Africa to provide comprehensive English lessons for adults. So there are 5 main attributes. 1, our classes are virtual, making them highly flexible and accessible to anyone. And 2, we are targeting adults between the ages of 18 to 50, beginning with Asian populations, particularly the country of Japan, because a study has shown that 96% of staff in Japan are willing to improve their English and 87% are willing to actually pay for the English classes, especially as they try to move to English-speaking countries for job opportunities. And 3, we have African teachers who will be employing that are between the ages of 25 to 40. And our classes, there are 2 forms of classes, the 25 minutes one-on-one classes, and then you also have the opportunity to have group conversations. And we'll be covering a number of different English proficiencies from beginner to proficient level. So what makes us different as an organization? 1, like I said, we have live classes, that teacher to student interaction, and 2, we have that student to student interaction. And the third one, which is really our unique selling point, we have African teachers, and there's really a huge traction right now to explore the diversity in the African culture. So that's another thing. 4, we'll have pre-recorded materials that allow students to download materials at their own time and read at their own pace. And then we also have tailored materials to the different levels of proficiency. And then the last thing is that our classes are very flexible, allowing for the teacher to open their time slots based on their availability and the student to book as well. And then in terms of our projects, and right now we are in the inception phase, so we are still starting off our project. I have a team of a software engineer who's helping me build the website, and I've recruited an e-board of teachers who are helping to create the content. So we are in the inception phase, but we are hoping by the beginning of August, we can launch the first prototype, which will include having our website app, which will include having our content ready, our marketing strategy already there, and hiring students, at least 20 students in that first, from between August to October. And then in November to December, we'll hope to improve the prototype, the website itself. We'll hope to also hire more teachers and continue marketing and improving our content. And then there are 2 forms of subscriptions. You can do the one-on-one classes or the group classes. And the first month is relatively cheaper compared to the second month across both subscriptions. And there's the option to have 8 classes, 12 classes, or 20 classes a month. The teachers will be paid a fee of $10 an hour for the one-on-one, or $8 an hour for the group classes. And looking at the cost right now, most of the cost that we're trying to cover right now is the website development, the Zoom accounts that we'll be using, allowances for the e-board to be able to access internet and help develop the content, creating our marketing materials, and content creation. So these are some of the things that we are hoping to use some of the funds from this entrepreneurship fund to go towards. And we have a total of about $7,100 that we're seeking to launch our product. So in summary, GIPS English Services, it's an online platform. I'll go back to this slide. It's an online platform that's really targeted, sorry, that's my timer, that's really targeted at adults, starting with Asian countries and moving forward to other countries who are really looking to learn English for work or for traveling purposes or just as a hobby. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. I have a couple of questions. I can set the ball rolling. How much of these funds have you already raised?
So we're just starting right now. We don't have funds. If I'm being honest, we don't have funds as yet. I think at the beginning of the year, that's when I started being very interested in this, because at a certain point in time, I did online English teaching lessons, and I worked for one of the companies as a person from Africa, Zimbabwe particularly, and the cost that they were paying teachers from who are non-English speaking countries, it was really, really low. They paid like $3 per an hour. And there is a huge population of teachers on this platform that are from the continent. And I'm just like, this disparity is not fair, because they were paying, so we haven't, to answer to your question, we haven't raised funds. Right now we're just running on our own personal funds to try and kick this off.
So if you invest $7,000, what's your best estimate whether you're going to recover this cost in 2 years, 3 years?
Okay, sounds good. Let me just move over to this side. So I did a quick costing calculations here so that we can all see it. So if we're looking to have about, let's say from August to December, we're looking to have about 30 students. So for a month, if one student is taking the 8 classes, they'll be paying $2,250. And if one teacher takes up all of the 30 students, per month, they'll be earning about $1,200. So I did this across the different number of classes that you can get. So in 1 month, we'll be having a total of 9,000. That's our total revenue. And if we remove the teacher course where they're being paid $10 an hour, that's $6,000. And we remove like the ongoing website upkeep and marketing strategy, we have a profit of about 2,000. So looking at that, our goal will be to make up the capital in about 4 months. Yeah, okay. More or less. Yeah.
All right. So let's assume that these projections are 25% reliable. So you're essentially talking of 2 years kind of recovery rate.
Come again?
So if I were to assume that these projections are 25% reliable, I'll multiply everything by 4, therefore. So if you're saying that, so if you would probably recover, let's say $500 a month. Okay.
If they're 25% reliable, you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to take a worst case. So if I'm recovering $500 a month, so every 2 months, so it's a 7,000 probably take me about 14 months. But then I assume a startup time also, assuming there's a 6-month startup time. So you're effectively talking of about 2 years to recover a cost of $6,000 to $7,000, which seems to be. So do you think you'll have a patience to wait for 2 years to recover your initial cost itself?
Absolutely, because there's a great market for this. And even looking at our competitors, there's that one company, I think that's the only one that I found that actually teaches English classes. I looked at 15 different companies that provide English services. That's the only one that has that teacher to student interaction. They don't have the student to student interaction, which is something that will be an added value in ours. Most of the classes for English are self-paced. The materials is very standard. There isn't that interaction. We have a lot of courses like this in different languages like Spanish and French, but for English, there aren't many courses that actually allow teachers to teach adults.
So Claire, do you have access to the chat? There are 3 questions from each of the other judges.
Okay. So the first question says, what makes you confident that Asian countries will be willing to use your services? Do you have a strategy to recruit them? Okay, great question. So what makes me confident about this is, like I was saying, when I worked for that one company that I was being paid $3 an hour, there were a lot of Asians that were trying to migrate. That's how the idea developed, and also just seeing how other Africans, how we're being underpaid. So there are a lot of Asians that are moving because of job, of work, and some people are just really interested in learning English. So that's one. So there's a huge market for that. That's why I'm starting with Asian countries. And then two, the strategy for recruitment will really be to see if there's a way that we can partner with different corporations to use that angle where we approach different corporations who are international and are constantly having their staff move to different countries, because most of those companies require students to have a certain level of English. And from the interactions I was having when I was a teacher on this platform, they had to look for their own classes. So if we're to approach all those different corporations, it will allow us to have that partnership. So that will be more like a solid foundation for us to build up on. So I hope that answers your question, Leo. I'll move over to so the next question was recruitment strategy. So in terms of recruiting students, that's the recruitment strategies, to really try to partner with different corporations in Japan. And then in terms of recruiting the teachers, I'm working with some of my high school teachers, some of like my family members who are teachers, to actually create a more robust plan on how to first hire the teachers, and then two, to create a standardized way of training them so that we make sure the quality of training education we are providing is of top quality. So that's the recruitment strategy for the teachers. And the third question from Amina says, what are the other prices you have seen for this kind of services? Is your service cheaper for students compared to your competitors? Also, do you help them prepare for English tests? Okay, perfect. So we do help them. So here, let's see, okay. So here, one of the things we help them do is prepare for different English tests like the IELTS, the TOEFLs. There are a lot of resources online actually on this. My brother recently was taking the IELTS and I had to help him practice in terms of the speaking and things of the sort. You need someone to be able to let you know where you're going wrong, where you're going right. It's not very difficult, but you need someone who's proficient in English to be able to point out those mistakes. So definitely we'll be helping out with those. That's one of our key factors in the things that we'll cover. And in terms of the competitors, so like I was saying before, there aren't many companies that offer English classes that have that teacher interaction, at least from the research that I have done. So there's only one other company, and right now for that company, the prices that I'm offering are slightly cheaper than those, and I'm hoping that we can stick with these prices and not change them moving forward. So it's not a huge difference. Let's go back here. Okay, so it's not a huge difference per se. If I remember correctly, for the one company, for their standard, when we're looking at the second month moving forward, they were offering $85 for this, and there was like a $10 increment on all of them. So it's not a huge difference, but it's a small one.
We have some time, and I have one question for you. How do you establish your credibility in a market that may not know you?
That's a very good question. I think one of the best ways, especially in that first prototype from August to September, our hope here is to only start with 20 students. And once we have those 20 students, we can use their testimonials and create a portfolio that we can use to approach other companies and other clients. So we're really trying to, for that prototype phase, to make sure we learn from, improve from that phase in terms of the content material, and two, in terms of how we deliver the lessons and the platform that we have. And then from there, we'll build it on. So we're going to start with a small population, maybe of about 20 students. Once we have that figured out and we make sure that our system is working the way we want it, then we'll work to scale it up when we have that credibility first.
Okay, so that also kind of partly answers one more question Enika had about what's your strategy for scale. But she had a two-part question. If you want to go back to the chat again, and then Leo also has one more question for you.
Okay, so the first one is, have you thought of building a community? What is your strategy for scale? So I think I answered slightly on the strategy of scale. Start with a small group of students and then use that as our evidence of this is what we're doing, this is why you should work with us. And building a community, yes, I've actually started researching on different companies that we can work with. And also there are a lot of English services for students in Asia. There are a lot of them. So I'm thinking of also seeing if there's a way we can partner with them for children and see how we can work together to tap into the adult market. And then in terms of working with Akumu, yes, absolutely. When I saw the presentation, I was so excited. I was like, oh, there's a potential for collaboration there. So I'm very open to that collaboration with them. Amina, please go ahead.
Yeah, so it's just a comment as we're speaking, as we're presenting, I was thinking about, like, some people have stereotypes about Africans and our accents and all of that. So how will you deal with that? I mean, you just answered the question about credibility, right? So how will you ensure that people actually use the service, especially because of the accent? Why will someone not find an American teacher who they think, is the best person to teach them English compared to someone who they think is second English, like the English is not the first language, and sometimes Africans have accents that people think that they don't understand them. So I'm not sure if you thought about it, you don't have to answer it now, but I don't know if you thought about the accent and stereotypes and how to navigate that.
Yes, I have. And that's a very good question, because when I was thinking about this, I knew that that was something to think about in more detail. And what I realized from when I was working from that company, people are really open to working with teachers from Africa. My schedule was always booked, even if I was being paid $3 an hour. My schedule was always booked because they were very interested to not only learn English, but to also learn about the African culture. So it's not necessarily a negative thing to be a to be a teacher based in Africa. It's a good thing, because a lot of people are really excited to learn about the continent. That's one. And then the second thing is that in terms of the accents, people's accents are very different, but our hope is that each teacher will have like a native level of speaking English, not necessarily like their accent, but their level of speaking English has to be on a native level so that they can actually offer good quality education. And hopefully when we train, we'll have constant trainings throughout to just talk about the accents and how to make sure, obviously, you keep your accent, because I think that's something that's unique to us and we shouldn't try to sound like white people. So that's important for us to just keep our accents as they are, but make sure we're communicating clearly. So
well, thank you so much, Claire. And I think Leo makes a very important point. And I also believe that it's, much as anybody may want to feel about things, there is only so much bandwidth that's available in the world. So it might make sense to actually listen to the benefits that maybe they in Africa or Asia or wherever else, and get over many of our bottlenecks and get over many of our perceptions. And I guess once people start looking at talent for what it is, they'll understand there's a lot more that talent can offer, and hopefully that will create conditions for more acceptability. But thank you so much, Claire. And we now move to Don. Don, last but not the least, we're absolutely looking forward to hearing to you.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Don Dieu, and I'm here to present more about MENIA Accelerator. MENIA means knowledge acquisition, like in the Burundian language, Kirundi. And, And our program is a non-profit education-centered social initiatives aiming at providing high-quality education programs for youth enrolled in formal education institutions and beyond in Burundi. These people can be both in high school, university, or transitioning to university. This comes as a program that is coming to bridge both the issue of skills and professional expectations gap that exists in Burundi, but also empower the students in Burundi who want to undertake different entrepreneurial ventures or professional ventures, as well as academic experiences. Our mission is to equip Burundian youth with capacities and skills by leveraging entrepreneurship and technology. And our vision is to educate and empower the generation of Burundian youth to have access to quality academic, extracurricular, and entrepreneurial opportunities. How we do that is that we have our focus areas, and that's entrepreneurial skills building, individually tailored mentorship programs, sector-based practical learning, support for both academic and extracurricular opportunities, and accessible learning digital platform. Amongst all the things, I'm here to present about our sector-based practical learning, which is a skills building program that fits into our entrepreneur program, where students join our program. While they have access to all those other resources, they will have access to a space where they are creating things that are very tangible. And for this year, we are specifically working in the sector of IT and agriculture. In the IT sector, we'll be developing software. We are developing a software engineering program where we'll be building the exposure and also providing foundational skills for students enrolled into our program. And into the agriculture sector, with the students enrolled in the program, both to give them the capacity to prototype and to build that with the team members, with the hope that they can go back in their communities and actually apply those skill sets acquired. But that specific arena also applies into the entrepreneurial program. The financial requirements for us is just $3,900, and this includes the materials included to build an aquaponic system and renting the land for 1 whole year. And this fits into our revenue model, which we want to sponsor the students who are part of our program by both scholarships that were generated into our different activities. And we are hoping that our aquaponic farm, based on the prototypes that we've run in the past and the studies that we've run, that our aquaponic system can offer 2 scholarships, and this will be like really good for our program, like if we can have that. And we are building a lot of partnerships, especially like with the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture in Burundi, as well as other international organizations working in the agriculture sector, so that we can support these students while aligning them professional experiences, able to support them in the future. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll request the judges to go forward with the questions.
Hi, Don. Thank you very much. So just clarification. So you're looking for $3,000 for the aquaponic fish farm, that it's going to be the practical aspect of what you're teaching the students, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So do you have any plans of actually selling the fish, or it's just for students? What are the plans for that farm?
So for now, we came here just for this aquaponic project as a source of revenue, like to sell in the aquaponic farm. I didn't elaborate on that. We have a capacity of 100 fishes and the capacity of having like 50 kg of leafy lettuce. We are starting with leafy lettuce for this time, and we'll be selling 50 kgs in those 2 months, which will be able to produce at least 2 scholarships in those 2 months for students, and 1 scholarship for the whole year equals to $500. But for now, we've been able to raise more funds. This is just like another like revenue generating projects that we're aiming to begin. But before this, we've raised over $30,000, which we've invested in the development of the digital learning platform, in the development of other programs. But for this specific program, it's just coming to really support the government's efforts, like in bringing innovation into the agriculture sector in Burundi, and starting with aquaponic systems this type of system will come both to provide the skills to those students, but also to come as a remedy to different challenges the Burundian agriculture system is facing. And at the same time, provide some revenues that can be used along the line, like for our project, and to sponsor more students to take part of our program.
All right, thank you very much. But if you had $2,000, would that be enough?
Sorry?
If you're asking for 4,000, if you didn't get 4,000 and you had 2,000, would that still be enough to set the farm up?
Yeah, to set the farm up, like it's just $1,500. But we need to rent the land, and also $1,000 for maintenance, and also $400 for transport, like along the year for all our activities. But just to set up the farm is just $1,500.
Don, you have a question from Leo in the chat.
Yes. We actually finished our recruitment process, and we were able to get was 300 applications. And on your question, how we reach rural children, it's that we have a network of students based in Burundi. I don't know in other African countries how it works, but the best students, when they finish high school, or when they finish, especially when they finish high school in the countryside or in the rural areas, they come into the best university, which is the National University located in Bujumbura. So that's the network we've used to spread the word. And that's how we've been able to get some students from the rural areas, but also for students located in high school. The best high schools, public high schools, are based in Bujumbura. Those are boarding high schools. We've been able to get into those boarding schools and get those students to apply. And our recruitment process was both online, but also in person, because we had some of our staff going to those schools to spread the word about this program and also run this admissions process. So that's how we've been able, in our statistics, 25% of our applicants actually come from rural areas. We are hoping to increase that number, but for now, it was just 25%.
Don, in the initial part of your presentation, you talked about software engineering.
Yes.
So how are you connecting? So are you using your aquaponics farm primarily to fund somebody wanting to get into software engineering? What's the connection?
So the connection is that we have entrepreneurial leadership as a program. Within the entrepreneurial leadership program, we have the practical learning side. And in the practical learning side, we are starting with software, trying to do, this is what I just explained. And on the IT, we are doing software engineering by partnering with a leading software engineering group here in Burundi named Aclis. They are going to be training the students for an equivalent of 40 hours by building both capacity and exposure to that software engineering program. And we've built a partnership with ALX. ALX is a program by ALU, African Leadership University. And they have a strong, I think, one of the most popular software engineering program right now running on the African continent. So we are creating a bridge for Burundian students to get the exposure here in Burundi, to get the fundamental skills here in Burundi, and support them into the transition to those available other services available on the African continent. And
so I have a quick follow-up question. So therefore, if you as an organization is trying to do two things, one is source talent, structure partnerships, send students to learn, whether it's as a part of the ALX program to understand software engineering, that's one stream of efforts you're undertaking. And the second stream of efforts you're undertaking is aquaponics farm, right? That's a stretch on the management of this entity. How do you plan to straddle this? Because the demands of these two services have some overlap, but that overlap is very limited. How do you plan to manage this stretch?
So our aim goal is to, as I said, like in our mission, is to build capacity and provide exposure. It's not really to build a software engineer. When you come into our program, we're recruiting students from Burundi. Like I'm a Burundian, I've lived here, but half of the things that I know right now, like is thanks to the exposure I've gotten from outside. Here, like for our students, like most of the things they know is from the things they learn in school. So we are trying to first build that exposure, first show them the different possibilities. We are not trying to build someone who is going to be like an agronomist, but we want them to know that, hey, like if there is an arid land that can be cultivated, there is an alternative. You have the skills to build an aquaponic system. You now know how to do it. You have the network that can support you into building that. So it's not a program designed to provide certificates like into aquaponics, let's say per se, but it's a program based on building exposure. Let's say if you have an entrepreneurial idea that was in the agriculture sphere, you know the different possibilities you can frame that into. And thanks to our other programs, opportunities, mentorship, you also have access to a network of people who are into those fields. But you also have, at the end of the day, when you leave our program, you have all of those things, but you also have something tangible. You know how to put a PVC in and plant some leafy lettuce. That's our main aim, so that our students can have that network, those capacities, develop entrepreneurial ideas into life, but also have tangible skills that they can use, whether in their entrepreneurial ventures, whether in their professional ventures, or whether in their academic pursuits. But we are not determining where they are going to orient them. That's going to be that's the type of empowerment we want to provide, by people getting the skills, but choosing where to utilize those skills in.
Don, there are a couple of more questions in the chat. Your link seems to be a bit unstable. So if it's okay, you may want to turn off your video so that we have a better quality of your audio.
Okay.
And then there's one question from Dr. Yeboah, and then Amina also has a question.
Yeah, I think now it's better, right?
Yeah, just in case it kind of gets patchy, you may want to turn off your video, otherwise it's okay.
Okay. I just saw a question like by Dr. Yeboah. How do you ensure that your trainers are able to implement what they've learned from you? So in terms of partnerships we are creating partnerships with both American Corners run by the US Embassy, but also with the Centre Culturel Français here in Burundi. They have centers with access to technology, access to laptops, and these are the partnerships we are creating, and also with local universities, so that we can have the space and infrastructure where those students can go and access the different modules through our learning platforms, but also have access to mentors, because in those specific places, then we have access to both the technology and to mentors for a period of 2 hours per week. But all of this, like it's why favoring and putting first the dignity of the students and making sure that they are the ones requesting what they need and us supporting their dreams and passions. Yes, Amina.
Okay,
and that was the last question from Amina, because we have run out of time for Q&A, Amina, so we'll just have to wrap it up fast.
Okay, cool. So the 200 applications, that's just for this specific program, right? And 25% are from rural areas. That's correct. And that's just for the boot camp, because I saw that in your application you wrote like summer boot camps, or is it just for the entire year? The 200 applications.
Okay, thank you. So for this year, we are only having 2 boot camps. And then for 1 year, like it's a cohort system. For one cohort, like one cohort lasts 1 full year, 1 full civil year. So for the students who will be enrolled, who start working in July, who start learning in July, the whole year will go until July 2023. And there's a new cohort that we enroll in December 2022, which will end like in December of 2023. So for those 200 students, they just applied for the first cohort that will run starting July 2022.
Okay, that kind of completes all of, well, thank you, Don. Appreciate the presentation as well as all the Q&As and patiently answering the details. Kwame, I think with that, and Kwame and IB with that, I think we have gone through all the 6 presentations. So I'll hand the baton back to you both.
Okay, thank you very much, Venkat. At this point, we will take a brief break, during which time the judges will convene to learn a little bit more. Will convene and deliberate over their decisions, and then we will reconvene in about, I would say, 10 minutes. So we'll reconvene right here in about 10 minutes. So you are welcome to step away a little bit, or just stay here, enjoy some music, or even have a chat with your friends here. But at this time, the judges are going to step away to convene and then deliberate, and then we'll come back to announce their decision.
Yeah, just to reconfirm, there's another Zoom link that Dr. Yaba has circulated to all the judges. So all the judges are requested to log out of this particular session and log into the other session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good people, you're allowed to chat on this platform, talk. Is everyone away?
Yes, David, it's been a long 2 hours.
Oh yeah, but it was exciting, I think. I was learning a lot.
Right, I'm so inspired by all these projects.
I'm sure the judges are going to have a hard time like deciding. I wish we had enough funds for everyone.
Right, I just wish, I wish everyone could get their 5,000 and go. Yeah, but these projects are just great. I'm so inspired by everyone.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where are you based in?
At the moment, I'm in Belgium.
Where? Oh, Belgium.
Yes, I'm just doing like a 1-year master's.
Awesome.
An advanced master's.
Were you an undergrad or a or a master's?
I was a
Scholar?
master's student. When at Michigan, I was a master's student.
Okay, what was your program?
It was a master's in public relations.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And are you in France?
No, not really. I'm in the US.
Okay, you're in the US.
Yeah.
By the way, we were the same cohort, isn't you and me at Michigan? Were we the same cohort?
No, I don't think so. I came in 2015.
Or you came in 2015? Oh, I was still there, so I think. You came in, so you started in August 2015?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we didn't meet. I think there was someone with a similar surname with you.
Oh,
before
I
you
think
came
you mean Hepzibah Chepngeno.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's Hepzibah, yeah.
Yeah, we come from the same tribe. That's why the last name looks similar.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna take my break.
All right, that's fine. Maybe everyone is on break now.
Answering all those questions. And I really wanted to thank all the judges for receiving those presentations, reading through those presentations, hearing the pitches, and also the questions. And very specific thanks to all the judges for some of the very valuable advice that they have provided as we were going through our deliberations, and I'll very quickly come to that. Here's what all of us felt, that the quality of presentations, the commitment, the intent was way above threshold. We definitely valued all those aspects, and it reflects in the fact that we are of the view that each of the pitches qualify for investments. So all the 6 pitches, the judges felt qualify for investments. And this is what we felt is would do justice given our own operating circumstances and given what we assist each of the presentations. So Violet, Achumo, Simpson, Jalin, each of these 3 pitches, we felt we are going to invest $5,000 each. Rosette, we are happy to invest $3,200 that you have asked for. To Claire and Don, we are investing $3,400 each in your pitches. So just to repeat, Violet gets $5,000, Simpson gets $5,000, Jalin gets $5,000, Rosette gets $3,200, Claire gets $3,400, and Don gets $3,400. Now for the observations. We do feel that there are specific points where we do believe that the operating models can expose you to potential risk. And I totally understand that the pitching environment is not exactly the most ideal environment to go through and glean over all the potential information that you have as access to as an entrepreneur. And then for us to process all that information and figure out why might you have arrived at that particular operating model or that particular nuance. And it might help for us also to reflect through those details and be sure that you have really considered the potential upsides and downsides of choosing that particular operating model, right? And therefore to be sure that you are well advised so that you are factoring risks and then you are avoiding potential failure in a particular context, not in the full context. Okay. By that, to that, no, building that context, one other thing that we felt, and from our own experiences from elsewhere also, we feel that maybe over and above the fact that we are giving you these funds, to the extent that you may want to, we do wish to set up a board of advisors where the board of advisors will be accessible to you. So we do not want to breathe down your neck for every 1 month, 2 months. It's for you to access the board of advisors. The board of advisors will not really suggest that you need to come and meet us. So Dr. Yabawa will reach out to each of you at some point in time saying who these board of advisors are and how can they be accessed. Ideally, I would not expect an interaction between the board of advisors and each of them from once every 6 months, but it's up to you. but the intent is to see if we can create a platform so that that advisory capacity, that bouncing board capacity is available to all of you, and you're able to access that at your will, in a manner, in a way that you think is best for you. So that's also the other additional point I wanted to share with you. But otherwise, thank you so much. As they say, ideas are important, but even more important is implementation. And therefore, only thing about implementation is the person who is behind that implementation. So at the end of the day, realizing that success is in your hands.
Thank you so much.
I see Leo has a hand.
Yes, Leo, please.
Yeah, I think you omitted that we recommended that Claire approach Achumo's team to see how she can use their services instead of trying to invent the wheels, because Achumo's team has a network, a platform that already works. And so if you can talk to them and see how you can use their services for recruitment, for delivery of your services, that would be, even if they charge you a fee, that would be better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Professor Leo. I totally forgot on that point, but thank you for bringing that in. Absolutely. Yes. Any other thoughts, or else we pass the baton back to Ivy?
I do have a few thoughts since you asked.
Okay.
First, I would like to congratulate all my other contestants. You've all done us proud. You fought well. Congratulations to everybody. And I also want to say a very big thank you to the judges for all your advice and your feedback. It's very valuable. And I would also like to thank Janlene and Dr. Kwame for having been featured on the Leaders of Africa platform. It has been, so I just wanted to shout you out, and also to shout out to acknowledge Gloria and Petulano, who are Mastercard alumni, for also being part of the instructors of the Leaders of Africa team. And just to let anyone out there know that if you're interested in being an instructor, just reach out to us and we will figure out a way to work with you if you're a great fit. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Violet. Thank you so much.
Well, David, do you have any announcement from the alumni board before I wrap up with our vote of thanks?
Thank you, Dr. Yeboah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just have one announcement to the Mastercard Foundation alumni members that we are planning a reunion like we did last year. So stay tuned. We shall announce the date. So if you have any activity that you think maybe we have to do, like feel free to suggest in our WhatsApp group or in our other platforms that we normally communicate.
Okay, thank you very much. I see Rosette also has a hand up.
Thank you, Dr. Yeboah. Onto that aspect, I just wanted to add that the alumni board is still kind of looking out for nominations for the e-board. I think we still have some open slots on the board that could really appreciate your services and your time. Please volunteer, volunteer if you have some time to serve on the e-board for the alumni.
Okay, thank you. Rosette.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to give a vote of thanks to the judges and for the team that has organized this entrepreneurship fund for all of us. Thank you so much. And thank you for valuing our ideas. Thank you for constantly supporting the alumni. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it looks like all of you did the job that I was supposed to do for me, which is to thank everyone for what has just happened. And as I sat here listening to the pitches, we had about what? Simpson, I see your hand. But I think in the interest of time, I'll suggest we quickly just wrap up. We've been on this call for almost 3 hours now. But when as I said, I was listening to the pitches and started thinking about the ethos of this whole Mastercard Scholars Program, and which also led us to think about an alumni board that will sustain these kind of interactions beyond the life of this program. And as we thought about the alumni board, one idea was thinking about professional development. But the other idea was also to continue on that collaboration on issues that help to advance Africa's transformational goals, and to even see recommendations for collaboration. Even if you look at Leaders of Africa, there are a number of Mastercard scholars that are involved in building that. If you look at other initiatives that were also pitched together, they had a Mastercard scholars that are working together to address pressing challenges on the continent. So it's really refreshing, and I'm pleased to say that you definitely renew my hope of a prosperous Africa, and that the prospect of we having an Africa, prosperous Africa, within our lifetime is certainly on course, and is certainly in good hands, as you are using the skill set that have been impacted in you to actually help advance solutions that help rid our continent of poverty and things. And I'm looking forward to more of this. On that note, I just want to quickly say a big thank you to our judges, Venkat, Eneka, Aminatu, and Leo. They've been phenomenal, and each time that you call on them, they are available to come support us. Some of them have been staying through late into the night. I know it's very late in Nigeria. It's getting late in Nigeria right now, but Eneka stayed on to be with us. And then they even came up with the idea of advisory board and willing to serve. So it is not just a job, but it's a mission for them. And I'm pleased that they are available to be able to support you. And also want to a big shout out to the alumni board, which is headed by Claire, Eva, Dave, and Masata. They've done a phenomenal job trying to hold things together, and they do all of these from a volunteer basis. And I encourage you to continue to support them, as sustaining this network is going very critical as we advance our give back missions across the continent. And to thank the staff, IB, and also the JAN staff who helped with the initial review. We received about 15 proposals and had to narrow it down to the 6 that came here. And they did a phenomenal job helping us to narrow it down to this point. And also to thank everyone who showed up today. We've been on this call, I said, almost about 3 hours now. It's a Saturday. And I know with the nice weather outside, it's not sitting in front of Zoom is not a way to go. So we really appreciate you making time to be with us, to cheer our friends on. And on that note, I just want to thank you all. But there's one thing that I always believe in. We said, after you overcome, you strengthen another. And similar to the ethos of the Mastercard scholars, the idea is the skill set that you have acquired, whatever opportunities have been given to you, is not just for your own to keep, but it is meant for you to reach back and support others who are left behind and bring them back into the fold, at least to the level that you find yourself in. And I see that already going on, and I encourage you to continue to do that. Continue. Let's reach out to other Mastercard scholars. Let's reach out to the communities that we are in, and make sure that we help advance the goal of transforming the continent in our lifetime. Thank you all very much for this time, and let's continue with our collaboration.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.